Hi lovely people, welcome back. It's book review day. So for those of you that know me, hello, welcome back. I missed you. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Kelsey. Welcome to my channel about randomness, reading, writing, mostly reading right now, and all the good books, and once the summer hits, teaching strategies after I've decompressed. So let's dive in. Today's book is a book that I should have done my review on a while ago because I read it for the first time a while ago. Thankfully, I'd already written my review. So, welcome to the stage, A Court of Mist and Fury. I know, I'm very late. That being said, I'm very excited to talk about this one today. So, let's just jump in. So, let's start with our synopsis. Tell me what you see. A world divided in two. Feyre survived Amarantha's clutches to return to the Spring Court, but at a steep cost. Though she now has the power of the High Fae, her heart remains human, and it can't forget the terrible deeds she performed to save Tamlin's people. Nor has Feyre forgotten her bargain with Rhysand, High Lord of the feared Night Court. As Feyre navigates its dark web of politics, passion, and dazzling power, a greater evil looms, and she might be key to stopping it. But only if she can harness her harrowing gifts, heal her fractured soul, and decide how she wishes to shape her future, and the future of a world torn apart. Obviously, it's in the exact same world of ACOTAR, because it's the same series. And I'm going to pause right here and say there may be spoilers, so if you haven't read this book, maybe don't watch my review. I should have said it sooner, but all I've read is the synopsis. So it picks up like book one ends, book two begins. It's been like a couple months, but it's pretty like, bam, we're back in it. I don't like Tamlin. Sorry. He's a jerk. I love Rhys a lot. Although he does have some concern. Anyways, we'll get into that in a minute. But once the bargain gets called in, she starts to travel. And as Feyre is traveling, I really like the way that Sarah J. Maas sets it up, how she explains what the worlds look like, how she's really trying to engage with these readers to give you a good picture. Like, you kind of got an idea, but I mean, really, truly, in the first book, we went to the human world, the Spring Court, and Under the Mountain. We didn't go anywhere else. So it was nice to, as she was traveling in this one, kind of get it pointed out for us or described in such detail, because it was just what was needed, unfortunately, so that you could get a good picture. Of course, there's a map, you can kind of understand where you are, but it doesn't give you a visual, and so being able to kind of picture the worlds in your mind, I think, is really crucial, especially in a fantasy world like this. So this one, it picks up with us kind of getting a glimpse into her new life as a fae, what that means, what her life at court looks like, because now it's become a court. But we also see some of the negatives. We see the way that now that Tamlin has his full powers back, he's like suffocating almost, or at least in my opinion. And so you start to see that there are some like issues that they need to work through. And then of course Rhys comes and just throws everything out the window, which is great. That's what he should do. But if you really read book one, it's like she tricks you into falling in love with Tamlin, and then it's like, psych, Tamlin's a jerk. And it's a little bit heartbreaking. I will say that I did have a little bit of an issue getting into this book the first time I read it, because I started to reread it back in February when the new book was coming out. But the first time that I read it, there were definitely some lulls, and I was just like, oh my gosh, like I don't care about her learning to read. I don't care about the tithe. I don't care tithe. whatever. I don't care about her bargaining. I don't care about any of this. I really felt the wedding was way too fast. It does pick up. It does get better. So if you're reading this and you're struggling, please, 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 please push through. This book ends with a much bigger cliffhanger, and it's almost heart-wrenching. So, and of course, it's a much bigger, chunky boy than Akatar. So there's that too. Also, you know, hey, shout out my tattoo. That is from this book. Sorry. All right. Character development. So we meet the inner circle in this book. I love the inner circle. You meet Moore, you meet Cassian, you meet Amren, you meet Azrael, who I want. Anyways, I want to give him a hug. He just seems so sad. All of those new characters, they have such complex stories, and it really does play out, not just in this book, but in future books. And so it's interesting to see how hard she worked to make sure these characters were very, very, very ingrained in the story, and how they all had their own traumas, but that hasn't made them monsters, if that makes sense, which I kind of felt like was the parallel between the inner circle and Tamlin. It's like Tamlin's big issue was really what happened under the mountain, and he becomes so into Feyre and just like, no, I can't let you go. And then it's like you meet Moore and you meet Cassie and you meet Azrael, and even with Rhys and Amren, you're just like, they've all been through crap and they're not monsters. Like, it just makes you question that whole idea of like, well, they've been through something. Everybody's been through something. And that's kind of what this book shows. Everybody's been through crap. So what? So all the character stories, they really intermingle. It explains why they're so fiercely loyal for each other. It explains why they interact with certain courts the way they do. It explains certain behaviors that they have towards Feyre at first. It's a very interesting dynamic, and it's kind of cool because it's like a band of misfits that found each other. I really liked it. Sarah J. Maas is really good at building these complex characters, except Tamlin. I feel like Tamlin's kind of flat, but I think he's supposed to be. And there's other books. But, you know, I'm just not going to go on a Tamlin rant. I'm going to be good. I will warn that at the beginning of this book, there is some really heavy, like, mental health stuff going on with Feyre. Obviously, she's been through trauma. It is kind of whiny at times, but also as someone who suffers with similar stuff, I kind of understand. But it's like she's at the early stages of it and she hasn't had it her whole life. And so I try to remember what I was like back then, but that was a long time ago. So, you know, you just gotta push through it. I promise she hits this point where she like sparks back up. And yes, she still has her issues. It doesn't just go away. It's not one of those like, oh, she meets a boy and everything's fine. It's not like that. But she's learning to cope. And I think that's very important to see. So if she's like irritating you, please push. It gets better. All in all, the characters are mwah. And I love how their stories play out in this novel. I love the way that I just love it. So all in all, 4.5 out of 5 stars for me. Yeah, it's not a full 5-star. I wanted it to be, but the first read where I find the lulls, where I'm able to put it down and walk away for a while, where I'm just like, oh my God, is this character ever gonna get better? It makes me dock it that 0.5. But I will say, on a second time read through, when I know it gets better and like I already know like kind of the storyline, I didn't hit the lulls. So food for thought. I would recommend this for probably, originally I said upper middle school. I don't think that's right. I think I meant high school and beyond. But I wouldn't use this in my classroom. I mean, don't get me wrong, there's probably 8th graders reading this book, but I wouldn't use this in my classroom. I would not recommend this to my kids who love fantasy. I want to, but there are smutty scenes, and they are smutty. And they get worse as the series goes on. So, well, I you know, maybe when they're older, maybe if they're in high school and they're like, I need a book. Maybe not. I don't know. But it is a really good fantasy book, but especially now that this series has kind of been more branded towards the adult readers, I probably would even go back and be like, I wouldn't recommend this for anybody below high school. And even then, maybe not. But that's also coming from like the teacher side. Like, I wouldn't recommend it as a teacher. As a friend, I'm here like, read the books. So there's that. So yeah. A Court of Mist and Fury. I am going to do A Court of Wings and Ruin and A Court of Frost and Starlight. And then I will do Silver Flames. I'm delaying Silver Flames because I'm still processing. But know that those books are coming, so I will have this whole series up. And be on the lookout for my reread video from A Throne of Glass. I'm doing little reread sum-ups of the series as I'm reading them with a group. So I'll be posting that all together as one video. And yeah. So let me know, have you read this book? Did you like it? Did you hate it? Did you think Pharaoh was whiny? Is that just me? At the beginning, and then she gets better. Do you like Reese? Do you hate him? What do you think of the Inner Circle? What do you think of Tamlin? Let me know in the comments. And what are you guys reading? Are there any new books that I can pick up from you? Otherwise, hopefully I will be back very, very shortly. I'm working really hard to get videos out, at least recorded, so I can edit them later. So fingers crossed, guys. And I'll see you in my next video. Bye!